Welcome everyone. Today I wanted to talk about low-fee stake pools and I wanted to talk about liquid democracy and how both of them I think may or may not relate to each other in the future. I've been doing some independent research looking at all these different stake pools that are coming up, and it's very impressive. And if you go back in my catalog on my channel, you see me harping on the negative effects that I thought that the certain A0 value and K factor would have. Sort of this race to the bottom mentality, and people are dropping the fees of their pool and they have to in order to compete. Myself included, I was 6% within the ITN and now I am 1.99% in the mainnet. And I am embracing the new model of change, and I'm embracing the new landscape that is present for stake pool operators. However, there are a lot of people, or when we had certain episodes of the Cardano effect, it was made apparent to us that the reason for pledge would be to prevent Sybil attacks. However, operators are not really incentivized to pledge large amounts because there's very diminutive effects of pledging larger and larger amounts of ADA, meaning that you don't really get additional rewards for pledging ADA unless you have large amounts of ADA, and it's negligible, it's hundredths of a percent. That's just how the model is, and that's what we have to work with. So I don't lambast anyone for embracing any sort of strategy in order to make themselves competitive, whether that be charging low percentages or making the pools nearly free. Whatever the case may be, whatever the strategy for that pool operator, I respect the game, I respect the hustle, and you've got to do what you got to do. That being said, I did some back of the envelope calculations, and it's kind of easy to spin up these kind of free pools that pretty much don't even charge many fees. And there are a couple of companies out there doing that already, and they have an amalgamation of different pools, and they have a lot of delegation to that pool or those sets of pools already. And I find nothing wrong with this business model, again, because that's what the parameters set, and they're playing by the rules and they're doing what they have to do. So respect to them. However, you can spin up a lot of different pools at very low fee percentage models. And it almost goes to show you that what if someone did that? And what if someone was a bad actor, in the sense that they really did not care too much about the protocol? Like if I spun up a whole bunch of different pools that were very low fee, I spun up like a dozen or 20 or 30 or 40 pools, I don't consider myself a bad actor within Cardano. I'll be playing within the rule system, but I would never want to do anything malicious to the protocol, if that makes any sense. So if there's an actor that spins up a whole bunch of pools and they don't necessarily have the best intentions for the protocol, I have a feeling that this could lead to some adverse effects long term. So this whole idea of preventing a Sybil attack, are we truly preventing the Sybil attack? And maybe we are. Maybe there's no way for a pool operator who controls a large portion of the stake to maliciously do something to the protocol. However, there may be a scenario where someone that has a lot of power or a lot of delegation all of a sudden has a lot of power within the protocol. And that, I'm talking about Voltaire. I'm talking about this idea of liquid democracy. It's been said over and over again. And this whole idea of liquid democracy is that it works both ways. It could be a representative democracy, or it could be like an individual democracy, meaning that you could delegate your votes to someone that could represent you, like the political system in the United States. When you vote for president or when you vote for certain parties, you're voting for delegates to vote for the end person. It's a representative democracy. Or Cardano also touts itself as being able to vote individually. So you could delegate your vote to someone, or you could use a proxy in order to vote for your particular interest, or you could do it yourself. There are pros and cons to doing it yourself versus using someone else, or using the ideas of someone else, or delegating your power to someone else. Maybe you don't have time. Maybe you want to be more educated about this issue and you're not the most educated about this particular issue within the protocol. Whatever the case may be, there are some people that are going to take it into their own hands, and there are some people that are going to delegate. So as we move forward to Voltaire, and we move forward to this voting system. If for some reason, if there's an option for delegation within Daedalus, so meaning that as you pledge, you can also kind of delegate your vote to that stake pool, there's where we have an issue. Because there are going to be a lot of people that are in the protocol that are not necessarily want to know everything that's going on with Cardano. They heard about proof of stake, they just want to get returns. So if I foresee a situation where maybe Cardano allows pool operators to, like, it's a one-stop shop. You can also delegate your vote to your pool operator. And these pools that have been spun up at very low fees, they may have a majority of the ADA that's circulating, or they may have 100 million or 200 million or a billion ADA underneath their system. And a lot of the people that are just chasing the low returns, or they're just not as involved in the protocol, you may find them in those particular pools. But what if they delegate their vote as well? So that person or that pool operator all of a sudden has a lot of power. So this whole idea of liquid democracy could kind of teeter, and it could kind of get a little bit dicey. So while we're talking about Sybil attacks and we're talking about low fee pools, if somehow the pool vote is tied with stake or tied with delegation, or it's in the same kind, it's in the same like user interface. So it's a one-stop shop for people. There are going to be people that are just going to delegate their vote, and those malicious actors who really do not put money or pledge towards their pool, or may not put pledge towards their pool. And I'm not telling this for every single person. There are people that are running pools that don't have a lot of pledge, and they're just running the pools, and they're not malicious actors. But the more skinning you have in the game, the less of a chance that you're going to act in an adverse manner. It's just the name of the game. So what do you think about this? Do you think that in the future we may have an issue with, like, is there a correlation between the effectiveness of governance and low fee pools, or delegating to actors that may not have necessarily the best intentions for this protocol? I'm not sure if I'm articulating correctly, but I want to know what your opinions are. I want to know exactly how you feel that these two are tied together, or whether or not they're tied together, or whether they're independent. Maybe I'll elaborate in another video, but until the next video, I appreciate you. Thank you for your time.